What's next for Rod Blagojevich? Joining us, our former Assistant U.S. Attorney Pat Collins and Illinois Attorney General Lisa Madigan. I guess not so much what's going on with Blagojevich now, because he's at home. We're really looking at what's going to happen now with our new governor, Governor Quinn. First of all, thanks for coming in this morning. Describe the scene yesterday at the State House. You were there watching it from your office, apparently.
Well, we were just talking about it. It was very surreal. And so, you know, luckily, the legislature, both the House and the Senate, took their charge very seriously when it came to impeachment. And yesterday was a very solemn, serious day, listening to the debates and ultimately the voting. But very strange when, you know, the governor came in, who had, you know, up to that point refused to participate really in any way whatsoever, and instead had decided to go to New York to go on this media tour, comes in to give, you know, a closing argument, which was really nothing more than, you know, similar statements that he'd been making all week long. And so, very strange situation, but I think ultimately it was, while a difficult day, a good day for the people of the state of Illinois. We now have a new governor, and we can move ahead and face the challenges that the state hasn't been able to address. The economic crisis that's facing the entire country obviously is having an impact here in Illinois, but we have a serious fiscal crisis, and we have an integrity crisis. And Governor Quinn has already said those are his priorities, and all of us, myself included, are there to help in any way we can.
I have to ask Pat about the governor's closing argument. I was taken with him using the word intend. I didn't intend to break in. What did you think of that closing argument?
Well, you know, I heard most of it in snippets, so I'm not sure I heard the whole thing, but he clearly is thinking about his criminal case, and he clearly was restricted, I think, in his head about what he should say and not say. The problem he has is the wiretaps. In terms of intent, as a former prosecutor, there's no better evidence of intent than what someone says, and the government has thousands of calls that talk about his intent. So he can say what I intended, but I think what's more pertinent for a jury is what he said at the time of these offenses, which is on the wiretaps, which we haven't really heard in full.
Yeah, the only thing that I heard yesterday, really, in that entire speech was the fact that you can't vote me, basically impeach me and convict me, send me out of office without first convicting me in a court of law, which seemed to be the only leg that he was standing on yesterday.
But it's not even a legitimate leg, because what it's ignoring is that an impeachment process is a political process. It's very different than, you know, a criminal charge, a criminal trial. And so there are different standards in place. And in fact, if you look at the Illinois Constitution, there's a very low standard for impeachment. And essentially, the way to look at it legitimately is it's no different than any employee basically saying, you know, being told there's a problem, you're not doing your job properly, we're going to look at the evidence of that, and if we determine that's the case, we're going to throw you out of your job. That's what happened to the governor. He will ultimately be in a criminal court, but an impeachment proceeding is not a criminal trial, and the governor was trying to muddy that for the public.
Trying to public perception, perhaps.
Correct.
Pat, you've been kind of charged with this task force to kind of clean up Illinois politics in the time that we've talked, which has been a few weeks now. Any conclusions, anything you've kind of seen that? Well,
sure, there's a lot, and to me there's several things that have been great about it. One is we've gotten a ton of input. Some really creative, great ideas are coming in off our website, reformillinoisnow.org. I have to say that at least once.
It's out there.
There's a lot of people that want to get on it, so don't worry about it.
There's been a lot of traffic. We've gotten some great ideas. I'm also just really overwhelmed by our commissioners. They're throwing themselves into their job. I think they've been well received. We have folks from all over the spectrum. We're inviting all elected leaders to come and talk to us from a constitutional office perspective. We hope to hear from Attorney General Madigan, who's got a lot of great ideas and has really been a force in this integrity crisis we do have. I agree. There's an integrity crisis. We hope to be a part of a voice. There's a lot of great folks trying to do a lot, and I think now that the sort of scandal fatigue is set in, I do think it's time for everybody, citizens and elected leaders alike, to look forward.
Yeah,
and that's what we want to do.
That's kind of what I felt like when I woke up this morning.
Right.
Enough, really.
Enough.
And of course, we can't let you leave without asking, well, how is this going to change your political future a couple of years down the road? There's going to be another election now.
And at this point, you're second in line to the governor.
Well, right now, I mean, and really ever since December 9th, my commitment has been, how do we move things forward? How do we help? And so, you know, on a routine basis, I've been meeting with now Governor Quinn to make sure that he's ready for this transition.
Do you want to run in a couple of years for governor?
What I want to do right now is to make sure that I'm using all the tools that I've got, the Office of the Attorney General, to help Governor Quinn and to help the people of the state. The people in the state, they are weary, you know, of self-important, self-righteous elected officials who are taking care of themselves and not taking care of the people of the state. And I'm not going to add to that problem.
So that's a maybe.
Right. We'll talk about it down the road. Is that kind of what
It isn't the time, to
Right.
be honest. It's just not the time.
No, absolutely. And as far as going ahead with this, with the prosecution and with Pat Fitzgerald and all of this, I mean, how long is this going to take now? This mess.
Yeah, I mean, people's attention spans are so short. You know, we indicted George Ryan in 2003, and he went to trial in 2006. The government has till about April of this year to indict Governor Blagojevich, former Governor Blagojevich. That's when the process then will start. It could be 2 years, and I think a lot of this stuff will be, you know, ancient history by that time. But what will ring true, I think, in the trial is what he did say at these media appearances and comparisons with Gandhi, and that, you know, prosecutors have that now on tape, and they can hit play and play that for the jury down the road.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you both coming in this
Thank
morning.
you.
I guess this is
My pleasure.
a moment as surreal as it was yesterday. It's certainly time to move forward now. We would like that as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure the people of Illinois would. Well, thank you very much. We'll be right back.